So next question, give a recent account of how the impact of global warming differs from one part of the earth to the other. So global warming results in several environmental and social changes. These changes, directly or indirectly caused by human actions, differ from one region to the other. When the global temperature changes, the changes in climate are not expected to be uniform across the earth. In particular, land areas change more quickly than oceans. Northern high latitudes change more quickly than the tropics. And the margins of biomes, that is Sahel region between Sahara Desert and Savannah grasslands, changes faster than their course. Regional effects of global warming vary in nature. Some of the results of generalized global change, such as rising temperature, resulting in local effects such as melting ice. In other cases, a change may be related to a change in a particular ocean areas, ocean current, or weather system. In such cases, the regional effect may be disproportionate and will not necessarily follow the global trend. Global warming can make changes to regional climate by melting of ice, glaciers, changing the hydrological cycle of evaporation and precipitation and by changing currents in the oceans and air flows in the atmosphere. Coastal zones will suffer severe impact from sea level rise. Regional impacts on Africa. Africa is one of the most vulnerable continents to climate change. There is a multiple existing stresses and low adaptive capacity. Existing stress include poverty, potential conflict, and ecosystem degradation. By 2050, between 350 million and 600 million people are predicted to experience increased water stress due to climate change. Climate variability and change is projected to severely compromise agricultural production, including access to food across Africa. Climate change can also threaten human health in many African countries. Impacts on Arctic and Antarctic. Climate change in the polar region will reduce the thickness and extent of glaciers and ice sheets. Changes in natural ecosystems will likely have detrimental effects on many organisms, including migratory birds, mammals, and higher predators. Melting of polar ice could have negative polar ice could have negative impacts such as damage to infrastructure and changes to winter activities such as ice fishing and ice road transportation. Positive impact could include more navigable sea roads. Sinking ice caps of Arctic provide economic opportunities such as exploration of oil and natural gas. However, this is fraud environmental cost. Impacts on Asia. Glaciers in Asia are melting at a faster rate than ever, which increase the risk of flooding and rock avalanches from destabilized slopes. Climate change is projected to decrease freshwater availability in Central, Southeast, and Southeast Asia, particularly in large river basins with population growth and increasing demand from higher standards of living. This decrease could adversely affect more than a billion people by 2050. Impacts on Europe and North America. Wide-ranging impacts of climate change have already been documented in Europe. These impacts include retreating glaciers, larger growing season species, Species rancid from heat-related health impacts, especially in Northern Europe. Climate change is projected to bring mixed effects, including some benefits such as reduced demand for heating, increased crop yields, and increased forest growth. However, as climate change continues, negative impacts are likely to outweigh benefits. These include more frequent winter floods, endangered ecosystem, and increasing ground instability. North America is likely to experience increasing number, intensity, and duration of heat waves, as well as cold waves, such as polar vortex blizzard, impact on South America and Oceania. By mid of this century, increase in temperature and decrease in soil moisture are projected to cause tropical grassland to gradually replace tropical forest in the eastern Amazon basin. In dry regions, climate change will likely worsen drought, leading to salinization and desertification of agricultural land. The productivity of livestock and some important crops, such as maize and coffee, is predicted to decrease with adverse consequences for food security. In Oceania, significant loss of biodiversity is projected to occur by 2020. In some ecologically rich sites such as Great Barrier Reef and wet tropics of Queensland, impacts on soil, small islands and coastal zones. On small islands, sea level is expected to exacerbate inundation, erosion, and other coastal hazards, and threaten vital infrastructure, human settlements, and facilities that support our livelihood of island communities. Sea level rise and increased tropical cyclones are expected to take place in low-lying small islands in the Pacific, Indian Ocean, and Caribbean region, at the risk of inundation and population displacement. Atoll native like Kiribati, Maldives, Marshall Islands, and Tuvalu are at increased risk. The risk of losing their lands threatens the national sovereignty of atoll nations. The coastal zones of Asia, the 11 megadeltas, and with an area greater than 10,000 square kilometers. These megadeltas are home to millions of people and contain diverse ecosystems. Climate change and sea level rise could increase the frequency and level of inundation of Asian megadeltas due to storm surge and floods from river drainage. So next question.